Hi, my name is Yaakov Forchheimer.
I'm Chaya Forchheimer.
We live in Lakewood.
New Jersey.
It was in the beginning of the summer, and I saw a friend of mine there that I hadn't seen in a while, and I said, Yaakov, where have you been? He said, I was in Israel, I was in yeshiva, and I'm like, where were you? And he's like, I went to this place called TJ. I'm like, sounds nice. And we hung out and we schmoozed, and he was really a refined person from the person I knew. And looking at him and seeing who he had become, I was like, I got to go to TJ. The year before, I had actually gone to yeshiva in Israel. And my parents were very excited to send me, and I went to yeshiva. We had Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and then we had Sukkot. We were off for Sukkot, and we had a great time. Toured the country up and down, went out to town, had a blast, and then the vacation Ben Azmanim was over, and and I'm like, okay, guys, what are we doing tonight? And everybody's like, well, there's Night Seder. Short time later, I went back home, and I worked. I had a job. Fast forward that summer when I saw my friend Yaakov Gottlieb, and I was so impressed with the person he became, and I'm like, I want that. Came back to my parents. I said, hey, I think I want to go back to yeshiva in Israel. They're like, oh, good for you. Shortly after yeshiva started, Rabbi Greenwald called me into his office one day. He said, you missed Shacharis twice this week. And I'm like, okay, I'm working on it. And he's like, if you're going to miss Shacharis, you might as well just go home. I'm like, what? I'm like, why? Like, why so harsh? I'm like, I'm not the only guy who missed Shacharis, you know what I mean? So he said, you worked all summer. I know you got up at 6:30 every single day to get to work so that you could save money, so that you could get to yeshiva. And you come here and sleep, you might as well just go home and work. So I know you can get up early. I know that you have it in you. And it was the beginning of a revolution within myself. It was the beginning of a lot of changes. But when I got to TJ, that's when I really started caring about becoming a better person and thinking about what I was doing, why I was doing it, or why I wasn't doing it, and focusing on growth. TJ made me into a growing person. So I went to TJ looking for a yeshiva, but I found what I got was a family. And that family lasted with me throughout my entire adult life up until today. I still go back to TJ for Yom Kippur because that was the best Yom Kippur I ever had, and it still is. And before I went to TJ, Yom Kippur was literally the worst day of my life. I would dread Yom Kippur. I would dread having to stand in shul. I would be fasting, and I didn't want to be there. And when I came to TJ, I suddenly wanted to be there. I liked it. I appreciated it, and the day flew by. And then the next year, I was excited about it. And I already knew all the songs that we were going to sing. And there's been a couple of years that I haven't been able to make it back, but I try to get there every year because it's something that I look forward to it. Now I bring my kids with me to TJ for Yom Kippur, and they love it as much as I do.
So as we were raising our children, lots of different questions came up with chinuch and even amongst themselves. Like I remember a small little thing. My daughter was like, Mommy, can me and my friend make a spooky Halloween house? And I was like, I'm not so sure. I think Halloween might have something to do with, I don't know, Christianity. So she literally either called or emailed Rabbi G, and he sat and he explained it to her like 10 minutes or so, a whole answer on why it wasn't okay, and she really understood it.
Don't wait until you need to ask a question to get in touch, because then it's hard. Call just to say hi, call to share the news of the birth of a child, just something exciting in your life. If you're in Israel, stop by, go see them. Establish that connection so that when you need them, when you need to lean on your rebbeim, when you have questions, when you need advice, you already have that relationship in place. There is a time difference between here and Israel, but somehow I'm not sure when these Rebbeim sleep, but they make themselves available. I can't remember a time when I reached out and I didn't get a response within a few hours. The hashkafas and the values that I developed in TJ, I still live by every day. The reason is because those hashkafas and those values were developed out of learning and understanding why we do things. And not just doing things because we have to, because that's what my parents did. It's why we do it. And when you develop your own standards and your own values and your own hashkafas, because you understand why you're doing it, it stays with you.
Sorry, so raising our children, they saw how Yaakov would always call Rabbi Siegel, Rabbi Greenwald, and I myself, if I had questions on chinuch or on different things, even like halacha questions sometimes, I would go ahead and call them. So it's beautiful to see how our children now, when they were in seminary, and Baruch Hashem, one of our daughters is married, they're always reaching out to Rabbeim, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And I also want to add something really special, that being part of the TJ family, I had access to the amazing Rebbitzins there. I remember even our first year or two of marriage, Rebbitzin Siegel would always invite us over for her Friday night dinners, different things, or once I had my children, she would help me, she would teach me different things about how to raise children. And Rebbitzin Klatsko and I also really developed a wonderful relationship, and Rebbitzin Greenwald, so it's just been amazing.
When we got married, we were zocheh to have Rabbi Siegel and Rabbi Greenwald under our chuppah. And just a few months ago, we married off our oldest child, Chana, and we were zocheh again to have Rabbi Siegel and Rabbi Greenwald under the chuppah at our daughter's wedding. And they have been there for us the whole way through. From when our children were born, every time we go to Israel, we always try to go and see them. When Rabbi Greenwald comes here, we always try to make the time to go out and meet with them. And the advice that they've been able to give us in raising our children and building our home has been invaluable to us.
Felt like it was his child, his daughter, his granddaughter. Like, there's just a beautiful connection. It's really, really special.
It was personal. It was
It was
very
really
personal. Yeah, and you're right. To see them at the wedding, the amount of joy, to see Rabbi Greenwald dancing like that, and to get that hug from him, that big beer hug, right before I walked my daughter down the aisle. Like you said, definitely, we are extremely fortunate to still have them in our lives.